So is James Gunn possibly able to make a sequel that was better than its poorly received predecessor? Let's find out. So the Suicide Squad, directed by James Gunn this time, is the sequel to Suicide Squad, directed by David Ayer. A film, by the way, that I didn't hate as much as a lot of people did. It was a smash hit in the box office. A lot of people just really didn't like it, but I myself had fun with it when I saw it. I just found more problems with it the more I watched it, and I thought that that movie was just not necessarily the Suicide Squad that I was looking for as a fan of the Suicide Squad, but it had some good elements in there. It definitely has some redeemable qualities. But this time around, we have James Gunn coming hot off of Guardians of the Galaxy, who took a bunch of unknown characters and just made them really, really fresh and new. I was really interested to see what he could do with the comic book film that's on the side of DC, not Marvel this time. And also the fact that he got $100 million to make this movie and do whatever he wants with it. And the fact that it's R rated, I thought was a really interesting way to go. And it's a lot of unknown characters this time around. We do have a couple people carried over from the first film. We have Viola Davis, who returns as Amanda Waller, and we have Margot Robbie returning as Harley Quinn. Joel Kinnison as Rick Flag is back as well. So that's a really interesting thing about this, is that it's not necessarily familiar, but on the same hand, it does have a little bit of overlap with its first film. So let's run through the cast of the Suicide Squad. Personally, I think that Idris Elba is great as Bloodsport. He really does a phenomenal job. He's kind of taken the spot of the Will Smith Deadshot character, even though the Will Smith Deadshot character is much more familiar to people. This was an interesting way to kind of replace that in a way by making a whole new character with almost the same set of skills and also a certain storyline that's in here that's similar. I don't want to spoil it too much, but it's really good because it does add a certain freshness to it, and he's not exactly like Will Smith in this movie. There's a lot of differences between Bloodsport and Deadshot, but this was kind of the way for making up for Will Smith not being in here. At least I felt that way. We also have John Cena as Peacemaker, and I like John Cena a lot, but in this movie he kind of brought a new element of acting to it, and I think that this is his best performance to date. So that really made me happy as well. Just seeing John Cena, kind of finally coming into his own on a character. And it was really entertaining and cool. I'm excited we're going to have a series involving this character now on HBO Max. And John Cena really navigated through the waters of this character and found a tone that worked. And at first, I wasn't really sure how to feel about him, but I was like, yeah, once we got the hang of him, I was much more on board. Also, we have Margot Robbie back as Harley Quinn, iconic, and she is really great in this movie. This is probably the best she's ever done as Harley Quinn of the 3 times that she's played the character. So I was really happy to see her back doing this again and better than ever. Also, Joel Kinnison as Rick Flag, who, by the way, I also liked in Suicide Squad as Rick Flag. I just wish they gave him more to do and a better story. And here, I really liked him as well. I thought that he did a really good job. There was a lot more for him to do. There are so many other cast members I can run through. I mean, we have Pete Davidson's character, we have Michael Rooker's character, a lot of people that really don't spend a lot of time on the screen, just because there are so many characters. And I think that James Gunn really found a good balance with all of that. One of the big players here, though, that we do need to mention is Sylvester Stallone voicing King Shark, and this character was so much fun to watch. Honestly, in a lot of ways became the heart of the story, and Sylvester Stallone really did a good job voicing him. This was a really different kind of role for Stallone, even though it's voice work. This is something that you never really thought you would be doing, but here he is doing it, and it's almost similar to what Vin Diesel was able to do in Guardians of the Galaxy. James Gunn kind of took that approach with Stallone, I feel like, for King Shark. and it really works out very, very well. Also, this is probably one of the most violent comic book movies you'll ever see. It's very violent, not in the most disturbing way. Like, if you had to put somebody at the top to be like the most disturbing comic book film, it would be the Joker movie with Joaquin Phoenix. That's the most disturbing comic book film, and probably still my favorite comic book film. But this is a top tier comic book film for sure. I really had a good time with the Suicide Squad, everybody, and I think that a lot of you guys should go out there and see it. It's a really great time, and it is far better than its predecessor. It's the more superior film of the two. It's one of DC's better movies for sure as well. And it was so much fun. The way that Gunn just balanced all the ridiculousness of it along with just having a story with characters and developing those characters and taking them to new places is really, really interesting. He definitely took a different approach to this, and that leads me to what I think is going to be the fault of this movie, which is that it's not going to be for everybody. It's definitely not. It worked for me, but it does play to a very niche audience, if I may add here, because there's definitely some stuff that happens right at the get-go that people are just going to be like, I'm not really on board with that. If you were a fan of the first Suicide Squad movie, you might not like this one so much because there are a lot of really ballsy decisions that James Gunn makes to make this movie feel extremely fresh. But overall, like I said, I think it's well balanced. I had a great time with it. It's well paced. I think the runtime for it was done perfectly. It wasn't one of those that I felt like was a little overlong. I loved the pulpy nature of it to where like so much stuff was just incredibly crammed in a good way. And it's kind of all over the place in a really nice way. It's really nicely balanced in a story that really should have more problems. James Gunn just felt so in control throughout the entirety of it. I love this movie. It's so good. It's such a fun time. I highly recommend you go check out the Suicide Squad if you haven't yet, guys. And I would say this is definitely one of those that's going to be worth owning on 4K, hands down. The second it comes out, I'm picking that thing up. So, can't wait to watch it again. I've watched it a couple times already, and I hope you guys go see it too. And have a fun time with it. Honestly, it's a blast. The Suicide Squad is definitely worth your money. So, thank you guys for joining today. I've been Don Martino. Please like this video, subscribe to the channel, leave feedback in the comment section, share this with friends, hit that bell for notifications, and also check out some of the other shows we have here. Movie Night, hosted by Sammy Ramirez. We'll be doing a spoiler review for this movie there. And also, if you would please go check out the Animax Entertainment podcast that is hosted by myself. We air that twice a week. Thank you guys so much again for joining. I've been Don Martino. Check us out. Do all that. Thank you. Good night. Later.